will try that one again. I do apologise to anybody there. I have no idea what happened. For some reason it was starting to play a previous video while it was on my live, and then trying to turn it off and rejoin, it just wasn't having it. So let's do a take two and hope it works this time. I can't hear myself, which is always a good thing. So I will just bear with for people to rejoin, because I know a few people did. Hi Andy, I've just seen you've come back again, so I am sorry about that. I have no idea what happened. And Simon, hello to you too. I hope you're both doing well today and enjoyed all your chocolate over the weekend. So obviously I know you were both in my previous live, and Hemel down, hello, hope you're keeping well. So tonight, because I can't crack on with the church, I'm going to look at doing some painting just for bits to go into the scenery. And we've got quite a few 3D printed items here. This is thanks to John. He's 3D printed these items for us. And until now, I've not really had a chance to get to paint them. Tim, a very good evening to you too. And as you can see, we've got quite a lot. We've got fences, we've got signal boxes, barrels. We've also got, this actually made me think of, near us we've got old slate workings and old cottages that are completely, absolutely knackered. So these two actually go together. You did have to print them separate. But that for me is just a fantastic looking old, completely knackered building. And another kind of farmhouse here. I have had experience with painting 3D items before. There is a shed that I did, that is in the shed. But this is actually something, another 3D printed item. You can see we do like our Zippos. This was something I just did. We love galaxies and things, so it's very easy with just your normal acrylic paint to paint. I'm saying certain ones a lot tonight, but it's quite easy to use the acrylics to do the designs onto these 3D printed items. Now, I don't even remember if I sanded this down. This was literally just go up in the room. Unfortunately, too small for some of them, but it gave me a chance to practice with it. So as you can see, it's still not finished, but you can get quite a lot of detail on these items just with acrylic paint. And Delph, no paper mache, don't worry, no paper mache for me. So this was something I did enjoy painting, but now I thought tonight, as a way to just catch up with you guys, I'd get on there and start painting some of these 3D printed items. Again, for anybody that's just joined, that's John that's printed these out for us. So we've got a couple ones to start working, and we've got a string of people that I'm going to look at doing just maybe slightly more colouring, a bit more detail, and just trying to do different things with their clothing, because they are all quite the same. And especially on my farm, you know, maybe add Wellington boots and things like that. So, you know, it is something that I was looking to just kind of put a more fitting for the scene, I suppose, on those. Timber surf, they all FDM printed, not resin. Best to start with a good base coat. Yeah, that is the thing. I think on this one it was an entire coat of black. I had done, again, we weren't as fussed on lines with this. I have nail files that I do always file down anyway with them, just to get rid of the lines. But for certain things, like with the fences, I'm hoping that those slight imperfections, they're going to add to what the timber would look like anyway, rather than just completely smooth. And things like these old buildings, I think certain parts of the less than smooth texture will just help with the painting. The old sheds, well, it was a shed, just normal shed. It was kind of a failed print, but it had bent in place and it just looked, once painted up, an old shed. I'll maybe try and get a picture of that on here tomorrow. but we are off to work, so I'm not sure how doable that's going to be. But it's just trying to show people that, you know, I've not got a spray gun. I'd love to get one at some point, but using acrylic prints are doable. And as you can see there, I have done it before. So I've got a string of acrylic paints, again, just for my arty side. So I've got so many different things. I've also got blenders. Now, this is actually for nail stuff and a bag of beauty blenders. Again, I think this was like a quid from B&M. That's just, I found certain things, especially like your green on the wood and things, that works really well. As I said, I've just got so many different colours and different things. And see my paintbrushes and that. So I just thought, as I said, as a way to catch up with everyone, because we're working tomorrow and not sure when I'm going to be able to get on with the next build towards the church. I thought it was just a way to catch up with everyone. So I'm just going to catch up with comments. I'm not sure if Rob's on at the moment or whether he is. He'll probably pop on as it goes on. I've just seen Jerry, you're in. Very good evening to you. Best to use a grey primer rattle can, it Sickerton helps. Okay, Timber Surf. See, what I did was I used my acrylic paint. I haven't got any primer with me at the moment. These are just purely, even if these ones don't work out as well as planned, I do actually, well, they're just practice ones really. So it's just purely here just to show you guys that it's possible. I have heard about the primers, but it did work for me with a little shed, as I said, with the texture. But I do appreciate certain things will need that texture on it. And bringing the horses into the conversation, I do plan now, I have quite a few, to play around with colours again, get that more realistic feel to them as well. So I'm just going to, I don't know which one to start with. I've got my signal boxes and my barrels. And we've been told, you know, your brighter colours, your blues, your reds, your barrels. And then we're going for like a green, a darker grain of green with the signal boxes and the black on top. I've just got to grab my nail file, wherever that's gone. That's the problem when you have both mums wanting to do their nails, isn't it? I kind of pinch my nail files for this purpose. Ah, there it is. So as long as it doesn't get rid of the texture, again, I just use a standard nail file just to get rid of some of that texture as well. And the other thing we have, I'm not sure whether I'm going to do that today, was Rob 3D printed. John even. John printed this for us, so it's just basic indents for bricks. Now, we had a bit here that we practiced on styrofoam before, and it's something I've not looked at yet. I'm maybe going to just do a colour and see how it goes. Because again, this will be like a watery colour and first and just build up the layers. So I haven't even attempted to paint that yet to see how well this works. Whether we can do it straight onto the styrofoam or whether I'm going to have to say, like, use my modelling clay. Because I do have like a modelling paste that I use as well. Whether that has to go on before. It's still on the kind of experimenting at this stage. So, Rob, I assume I can leave you to, if I miss any comments, just catching up with people. So, I'm just seeing a couple of people more have popped on. So, get some donkeys. Funny story about that, Delph. When I was a kid, there was a, I think down in Devon, there was a donkey sanctuary. And to be fair, it was always somewhere my parents took me. And it was actually there that they were selling Shetland ponies. And it was a debate whether we were going to have one in the garden. Never happened, sadly, but they were trying to rehome Shetland ponies there. So it will be, we've got a few animals. We do have some cows and sheep as well, so. and Delph P. I'm as bad as Rob, to be honest. I haven't even got a brain injury. I'm awful with names. I really am. I never mean to be. So I kind of, whenever I'm painting, guys, I always make sure my brushes are wet and ready. Also make sure you're shaping your brushes. This is just me and how I do it. I've got so many different brushes of different thickness. Again, you just depends what detail you want to go on to. Oh, no way. I'm not sure if my mum and I ever did adopt, but it's a cracking little sanctuary, isn't it? It's been years since I've gone there, but I do have memories of going there. It was a lovely place when I was a kid. So, what colours are we going to do first today? So if they see with these barrels, textures really something. I do like the textures because you can just add, you know, it just adds that bit of depth to it, so it's not completely straight. But again, these files are brilliant at getting some of those edges on.
That's what you were doing this?
Yeah, we just said I'll pop on for a little bit.
Oh, you'll be on there for now?
No, not that long. I'm just painting a little bit. Sorry, guys. Mum's come down trying to sort the cat. So again, as I said, these are just for me mainly to have a practice with because I've not done such little items yet. But what colour are we going to go for? We've said some red and blues. So I have a few different ones here. Rob, if you're watching, you might actually see a blue that you like, to be fair. I can pre-mix, but even here I've got so many different colours of the same. Delph, Angie, just a couple of the viewers are saying to say hello to you. They can't see you. They can't see you, it's looking there, but they've just said that to say hello. One of ours, Delph, he said say hi to your mum.
Hello, how are you?
But there, what it is like a couple of seconds delay, so when we say it, they see it a few seconds later.
Hope you're all right.
So.
Maybe jumped to my bed.
Oh, okay.
Jumped off. She couldn't get into the door, she.
Oh dear.
I just knocked off the door now. Tantrum, she.
Oh, she's doing funny. This is for Cat again, guys. She can be really funny. I'll look on YouTube for Donkey laughing at Paul Boxer Dog. Oh, bless, guys. I think she's not fully understanding with it. I think, you know, like a phone call, she was kind of not sure about a reply, bless her, but I'm not sure what blue to go. But what I might do with these ones is just give them a coat of white. That will also help start to cover it, so. And decide what size brush I'm going to use. Now I've got a set that I bought. So I've got all the different range of sizes. But again, you can pick them up from everywhere. I'm just trying to think. Yeah, that should be enough. So on this occasion, I am going to go with a base coat of a white. Again, these will just be around. So if they look a little bit knackered, it's not the end of the world because that's what would happen to them, I would imagine, if they were out and used. So, and what I like about this one, how John's printed them, is I've not taken it apart yet because it just makes it a little bit easier for me painting. So oh, sorry, Rob. Just have a dog come down, so if I bring that in a bit closer. It's such a small item, isn't it? I'm not sure why it's not focusing. Is that in focus for you guys? That is what one. Ah, there we go. I wish they had like a zoom function. So I think me and Rob also want to say a big thank you to everyone. We've done a little video today, not an episode as such, but the amount of people that have commented and input is just brilliant. So, you know, we've always appreciated how everyone's given us tips, tricks. It's just a brilliant way to you know, it's helped us quite a bit with different things, but hopefully this week we will get that track fully laid and then we can start designing the scenery. Again, it's one of those, just like everything else, we've not fully planned yet. I think we learned after a few episodes there was no point saying this is our idea. So again, I am going to try and get a decent layer on here. That's the one thing, if you do want it white, you do have to get a good layer. The primer I have, sorry, I'm not sure without looking up who mentioned the primer. But as I said, I've just found sometimes that little bit of texture just gives it that more realistic look. And then for things I want like a watery effect, like the wood on the shed, I do wish I had that in here. I just made sure my brush when I was painting had quite a bit of water still on it. And that gave me the colour that I needed, but that slightly washed out look. You know, like the sheds as they just get old and knackered really. And one thing I have found brilliant as well is it's quite quick drying with the acrylic paint as well. So you're not waiting too long for things to dry. Obviously, if you're doing something massive, it might take a bit longer, but... That was Timber. Thank you, Timber. Sorry, I was looking down and I swear I've got a brain like a sieve sometimes. It is something, especially as we get the bigger items and things we do, I will look at primer. If you've got any recommendations of one that you use, that would be more than welcome. I think I've noticed a few more joining in, so very welcome to you guys. How are people getting on with their layouts? Has anyone been able to do much this weekend, or like us, have you been hosting family? And we've managed to get a few bits done, but not as much as we normally would, I think. Halford's great primer, I've just seen that. Mystic, it's good to see you again. GWR, I've just gone blank. I'm see, awful with names. We're not making anything as such tonight. Still waiting for the postman. But today we're just looking at a few of the 3D printed objects that John had done for us. Getting some of these painted up. And it's just to show people that you can get, you know, oh, there's me throwing everything everywhere. These 3D items you can, you know, paint with acrylic paints. This is something, I might just keep it in my shot. Actually, that is a Zippo holder I did for Rob. And that is just purely using acrylic paints. I didn't actually use a primer on this one. I think it was just my nail file. And that was just like a galaxy style. It's still not finished. But keyboard. Yeah, I've moved it back, Rob. That's what I was only doing here. It's right behind. I don't know if the camera's making it seem different. I'm not sure. But I'm just going to get a couple of these prepped with white. As I said, these were purely the first prints John did for us. So it's purely a bit of an experiment, really, before we decide on final. And I thought you guys enjoy being along for the ride of these experimental things. So, but as you can see, the nail file is pretty good at filing this down. It's a handy little tool. Obviously, where I struggle a bit with these is like these doors. It's not as easy with a file, because with a file being that good, you can lose the texture it's created. So again, we're just going to cake this in white. I found the white does help with the colour layer you then go to add. It's just giving you a bit of a base. Obviously, primer is something we've spoken about tonight. It will be something going forward that I use. So, reminds me of when I just showed my wife, oops, oh dear. I'm not sure the beer was quite worth it then. I bet she made you feel anyway. Making a mess. I'm always making a mess, Jerry. We know what I'm like. Oh, I think John's watching as well. He's not. I've not noticed a comment from him. So the loop deck. I'm not sure I can reach it from there. As I said, it isn't. I'm only painting in this little area, Rob. Please don't panic. I know this desk is like your baby, isn't it? Oh, Mystic. Oh, irreplaceable work. Oh, dear. That's what I mean, Andy. If John's watching, he's not piped up yet, is he? I'm glad I'm not the only one bad with names then. But obviously this I can paint. It's a lot bigger, so you can use a slightly bigger paintbrush. Obviously the only disadvantage with this one is the boards it's printed on is the whole load of these, rather than the I've gone blank on their name, on the barrels. You can either get them separate or two, so again, this might look a complete mess at the moment. This is purely having a go to see how it goes. This is where we find out the little shed I did was a complete fluke, yeah. Delph, have you got rid of? No, yeah. No, yeah. That's such a good way, isn't it? As soon as I noticed that today, it was actually during filming that I noticed that mould on the paper mache. And it's been well and truly gone. I'm not sure why it's happened. you know, I know other people have paper mache'd and no one seems to have mentioned that before. Whether it's because they've then covered it with all the other stuff, I'm not sure. But I did notice that literally, it was literally as we were filming. So, yeah, it's definitely not on the layout anymore. I think, is that why people use dish soap and things as well, don't they? As a way to prevent it. But yeah, like faults, like you said, we don't want it to spread. It's bad enough being in a, isn't it, in a shed trying to make sure everything stays as it should be, so. Anti-mould wallpaper paste. That's not a bad shout, Andy. So I think this one, again, colour-wise, I'm going to try this really light blue. Rob said for me to have a try, so I can always paint over it. I'm going to see how this comes out. Might be a bit too bright, so we shall see. But as you can see by touching it, that is now dry. It doesn't help that I've got paint on my fingers already. But it does dry fairly quick as long as you're doing it in small layers. I'm sure you guys are probably going to enjoy the silence of the concentration. Well, you touch painting, Rob, but only when it's big, massive walls. You did already say from the start this would be my job, so to speak, didn't you? See, Big Red, I have heard a lot about these weathering powders. And it is something, as it develops, I would like to try a hand at. Obviously, at the moment, I'm just going to what I know. So, acrylic paints and just seeing how it comes out. I've heard the airbrushing is a lot smoother application. But things like this, I think having those multiple colours actually add to the effect. Especially if some of these you want a bit older. All you have to do is a little bit watery, or, you know, again, that white base that you can see here. That is for slight colour variation. Not that with tiny items it helps. But there is a very slight colour variation that I think helps give you that weathered effect such. So like here at the bottom, you can possibly do those effects of, you know, when metal and that's age and the paint started peeling off. Now, Rob, what do you think of this colour? I'm trying to keep this in focus, guys, but it really doesn't seem to like it, does it? Maybe if I put something plain underneath, that might help with its focusing. I'm not sure, we shall see. Problem is, I still need to be able to see what I'm doing. Now, that's not a problem, Rob. At least starting lighter, I can just go in with a darker colour. See guys, this is literally totally just having a play around with colours and seeing how it goes. Which, you know, we are quite lucky. John can just print us off for us. So if you've got a 3D printer yourself or know someone with someone, it does make it a lot more viable, I suppose, to experiment with these things. Oh, guys. Oh, we've got Rob and John here at different opinions. You guys thought me and Rob have our rounds, but I don't know if John and Rob are at differences. What do you think, guys? Do you think on the layout this is going to be quite a light blue, or we should go a little bit darker? So hard to keep this in focus for you guys. I do apologise. Let's just see what others think. Because I am going to try a red one as well. Again, it was John's suggestion tonight to us that, you know, the brighter colours do stand out. So I will need to go over it with another coat. But as you can see, the difference in colours. And if I really wanted to, I think if I have something white, I could really just very lightly touch it, as if it's the metal on the colours that are wearing off. So, Delph not going down that route. I'm not going to shout at you, Delph. As I said, we've always appreciated people's input. It's only Rob that I shout out. Oh, he's coming in, inspecting it, guys.
Yeah.
Piccadilly Model Railways. I'm not sure we've seen you on a live, so very welcome.
Ow.
You just hit your head again, haven't you?
No. No, I think it looks all right. As I said,
It does need tidying up, but yeah, it's...
You know what they say, opinions are like rear ends, aren't they? Everybody's got one. And mine could be wrong.
You don't want Grace shouting at you and up under the patio. That's John. That's John that said that. Oh, and we've got another John.
It seems that everybody in your live chat is determined to put me under this patio.
At least for patio, you'd be nice and warm.
All I can
Valley
say,
56, very good evening to you.
all I can say is bury me upside down with my bum sticking out so the world can kiss my...
Big Red, as Bob Ross used to say, this is your world. Mentioned horses once, think I got away with it. Mike, you mentioned horses and you're always on my side. So you're never going to get in trouble.
I love Bob Ross. Ex-military too.
Rob didn't finish that statement. Everybody gets one and they usually stick.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to behave tonight. I know I swore a couple of times last time, so I'm trying to behave tonight so we don't get banned.
Guys, do you really believe Rob behaving? I'm not sure. I can see that one myself. So now we've got blue. I'm going to try and go up a red.
I'm just thinking we've just been accepted into the YouTube partner program, so we've got to behave even more.
Do we?
I would think so. I think they watch me even more then.
I know. So we've got that. So we've got a few different reds here, guys. I've got a slightly darker red, and it's not showing because I've got it close up for the...
I'm going to say the lighter one to match the blue.
Flymo, good evening as well. I'm sorry, I've not... Like, you think the lighter one as well, keep bright?
Oh, sorry, boss.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So Rob's going bright, guys.
No, that'll be best.
Oh dear. So what I like about these little bottles as well is, especially for the 3D printing side of it, because it's such small amounts you need, rather than wasting putting it into my little tray here, I can just put a bit into the lids, and that way it's just means I can do what I need. And again, with your layering effect of the colours, no, it'll lose its focus as soon as I get too close. Is that better? You can see the paint here is not perfect, but I think this just adds that more realistic feel, light, shadows, that it's not all one colour all the way round. Well, it is one colour, but not one shade of colour all the way round. I can just cue the crickets, guys. This is really why Rob likes me doing the painting, you see. Because he's got more chance of me not speaking. I've just seen a comment as well about the painting. Probably. Where did I see it about the paint? Guys, you're going to have to say if you did it. I'm not going to say if you didn't, but if you did, please let me know. Well, that was you, not me. So that's so yeah, the economic with the paint. Another thing you can do, if you, for anybody that doesn't know, if you've got paint that you've got a colour that you want, this was actually from my Fences with the Farm, a way to keep your paint. Now, this was a few months ago, so this won't be any good now. I haven't cleaned it out yet. Is if you've got your palettes here, wrap them in a tight seal bag. I've got them in a pot as well. That was just to make sure the seal was correct. And usually your paint will still be wet for a day or two. So if you kind of had enough of a day or want to make sure you keep that colour, pardon me, because I know how much of a pain it is once you get a certain colour. Wrap it up and just seal it, and that should do you for a couple of days as well. If, unlike me here, that you can only do the small bits at a time. So that is a tip for anyone.
I think the blue goes well with the red, actually.
Piccadilly barrels come in all colours and states, so anything goes. Women have more patience than blokes.
This is true.
Delph. My wife has abundance patience, except in regards to my chores. Are you one of these every 6 months then, Mystic? Although, is she still angry at you for the laptop? Is that what it is, really? If I follow, I'd be more loud swearing. So, now that Rob's seen this, he does seem to like the combination of the two bright colours. And I'm sure when it all builds together, it will help make it stand out as well. What I like about things like this is it is something I can bring indoors, especially at the start of the build when it was quite cold out in the shed. Well, it's still quite cold now, isn't it, at night? It's just little things I can bring inside and just do of an evening. Because I think we all been in that position where you're doing something on the track and you're really, really happy with how it's going, and then you think, oh, I've got to come away. Again, I think this red is standing out really well. So hopefully when we layout starts to come together, even it's amongst things, it will just really pop with that colour. So that is on 2. Try and bring them a bit closer. Our red, obviously the white lines I'm looking at possibly keeping on some. I will need to go back with the paint. Just a really thin brush. I do have a couple of really fine ones. I also, as well as my proper brushes, I've also got these nail art ones. And as you can see, they've got some really fine tips. I've got varied in size, which is quite handy. Mike, just notice when you cut off the base of barrels and turn them upside down, that gives you a nice vent cover. Oh, that's very true, actually. Thank you very much for that. And I don't know what you guys, vent cover, and also the we'd have to size it up. The what's on floors to go down to the sewers and all that, what are they called, grids. I don't know if something like that would work as well. You get some with all different designs on, don't you? That's in the roads. I cannot think of the name of them. Manhole covers, that's it. Thank you, Mike. I don't know what you guys think there as well. A few manhole covers. I've not taken one off yet. As I said, I've kind of kept it on for ease of painting. But I am, for this one, going to have to take these off before. It's very easy. They literally just plop off. And I'll keep that one on there to do for holding. But this, I have a, yeah, manhole covers. It seems like vent and manhole covers these can be used for. Obviously, we have always kept the bases of this because this is the one that the power boxes are on. Again, there is a different pattern on this, so again, it might be something we can use a sidewalk or something like that. We would have to check the scale of it though. So we've got a few different things to try at here. But yeah, I am quite liking this blue and red myself. Tim, the barrels are 3D printed using John's 3D printer. As the same as the other bits we have here, we do actually have fences for me to try, and something as well I've got to try at some point is it actually indents the bricks. We have tried it here on styrofoam straight onto it. I'm yet to paint it up to see how it goes, or whether we need to actually get some like my modelling putty and do it on top of there, but you can see it has indented it. So 3D printing is really, really good, it seems, in the whole modelling aspect. Marin, very welcome again tonight. That one good for cleaning your tractor on the farm. Which one, Mike? This bigger one? What do you mean, the floor for the tractor? The floor for the tractor. The kind of like floor that the tractor goes on top, do you mean? And it has it kind of like it's open grids, isn't it? Because usually they're thin. So do you mean like cut each section off, or just keep it flat? Because that's another good idea. So I do appreciate, this is what we love about you guys. It's not something I would have even thought of, to be honest. Tim, we're very lucky that John 3D prints for us. Pardon me, we haven't got a 3D printer as of yet. Pardon me. And Mike, that's a brilliant idea. I can see me using it for farm. And again, I've got a bigger sheet here with the flatness. These are just for supports when 3D printing. But like you said, that's actually a really good area. It's like a cleaning section for the vehicles, the farm bits that I have done. I am thinking of slightly remodelling now I've got a bigger room. So going forward, there is probably going to be a change in plans there as well. So we've had a little experiment with our barrels. Valley 56, this is the great thing. I think it's Thingiverse. It's where you can get all 3D printed designs, and they're completely free. So if you know someone with a 3D printer, they might be able to print it. And I think I just typed in 00 gauge bricks or something, and it literally came up. And I don't know if you can see, well, you can see from this, they are actually quite deep as well. So I'm hoping that if it doesn't work straight onto the styrofoam because you don't have enough hard press, I've got like this modelling paste. So again, I'm going to try and paint this one up, maybe not tonight. See how it looks once it's got the paint on it. And if not, possibly cover it in the modelling paste, clean it over, run it over it. The only thing is this would need to be cleaned immediately after, where if it goes straight onto the styrofoam, it's definitely a less messy process, which would be nice. Piccadilly, yes. Tinkercad, yes, that's another good one as well. That's the program to actually make them. It's not something I've really looked at yet. There is another free one. I honestly cannot think of the name of it, but there is another free one that you can go to. I'm sure somewhere here I've got a very dark green for me. Just bear with me, guys. Looking for like a dark greeny colour. And at the moment I can only see my light greens. Might have to be mixing one, so it might be one I leave for another day because of this only being a relatively, not fully short, but a relatively quicker one tonight. It's something that I will have an experiment with at some point. But what I really liked with the sabre fences is, again, using these little ones, a little bit of watered down, making sure I've got that water on my brush and going onto the fences. So I think I'm going to look at that now, wherever the brown I used before is gone. It's a problem when you have too many paints. You've got to find the one you were working with. Okay. So believe it or not, on the shed, there's a very, very light brown as it's come out. It was actually this brown that I've used. It's just purely because of the water that I've used in it and a white base coat. That's how I managed to get it so light. Again, you've got that aged look then, if you've got that lighter wood. So, I've just seen Barnabas is in, Jason as well. Hello to you. Sorry, I've obviously missed you coming in. And I did see that about the church windows as well. Rob came and showed me. I've been busy hosting my parents today, so I was kind of in and out of your live. What's that? Teeth, trains and cameras. You can just freebie print a wall in the size and shape you want. The reason for it being is we've actually not got the 3D printer ourselves. We've got plenty of styrofoam, and also John's printer isn't really, he's an N-gauge layout, so his bed is more for N-gauge products. This is why we've got like an old building here. It's actually made up of two parts, and for it to work he's actually had to separate it. So his bed for his 3D printer isn't actually suitable, more for the 00 gauge stuff. But, you know, it's one of those we can just get on as well. And it's about having a playing experiment as well, isn't it? These seem like quite smaller bricks as well than some we've seen. So, and delve, not a problem, lovely. Oh, kitchen fitting. We're waiting to get ours done here as well. So, lovely seeing you tonight. Thanks for catching in as well. And Teeth Drones and Camera, yeah, it's an amazing building. Because we're being like the North Wales section, there's a place, it's Clanberis, is it, Rob? They have old workers' cottages. And they're exactly like this. Roofs have come off. It's literally just parts of the building. So we saw this and thought, wow, that's absolutely brilliant. And fell in love with it. So even down to wooden planks here. So we're looking at, you know, obviously the slate kind of colour, trying to keep that North Wales feel. Again, it's going to have somewhere maybe up on our hills and that it could be used for. Mike can be used for block paving as well. Yeah, this is true. Like you said, it's very much something that we can use for other things as well that use that brick texture. Always better to free print in the smaller sections in case a malfunction part went through the print. Yeah, I get that. Teeth Trains and Cameras. It's more John that does the 3D printing. I don't really have any knowledge of it. And yeah, as Rob's just said, it's the Anglesey cottages in Clanberis. That's the cottages we mean. I'm not sure, Rob, maybe if we can get a reference photo. I know you've taken some, but maybe we can get a photo just so we can show everyone what we mean. Timber, very much. Thank you for catching in. I think I'm going to do this fence post as my last one and head off myself. We're actually on a transfer ourselves tomorrow. So I think this is kind of going to be the last one I'm experimenting with tonight. And from there... Oh, Anglesey Barracks. Sorry, Rob's just double checked. It's actually Anglesey Barracks that I'm thinking of. So I don't know if anybody else is this way knows of it as well. And I'm not sure if you guys can see with these, I've not sanded them down, because when you don't, especially with like things like fences and wood, that imperfected texture actually works pretty well. Oh, I might have to get a picture of it for you guys. But it gives you that kind of grain that you would have in wood naturally. So it absolutely saves me having to add that in with colours after. And that's what I really like about it. So, and Flymo, thanks for your comment there. Hit like button, subscribe and share. One of our moderators now, it's appreciated. Something for anyone there. God, I can't talk tonight. Something for people, if you've noticed that we've mentioned we have, well, we've set it up, but not fully, as a Patreon page. Now, it's literally, I think Rob set it up today, so if you do check it, it is literally bog standards. We've not really looked at it yet. It's not even got our logo on there yet. It's something that we have thought of setting up. It seems like quite a few people have. It's a very good tool, and if anybody does want to be part of that, it would help us towards our build. We've just got to work out different things like tiers and what kind of rewards you would get for those different tiers. As I said, it's very much in its infancy at the moment. So if anybody sees it and think that's it, we've not properly looked at it yet. I think Rob was saying it's literally just a bog standard thing that's on there. So hopefully in the next coming days we will be able to get that all sorted out as well. I'm just going to do a couple of these while I'm here. And going straight out the bottle. The only thing I have done is brought too much out. But the other thing I am wary of when using acrylic on plastics is not leaving bulks of paint on the surface, because it does give quite a, it's not the nicest of looks, I find, especially when you paint. Inside it doesn't matter too much because I'm just keeping it on the base plate at the moment to just have it for ease of painting. But I don't know if you guys can see it, the slight texture in the wood that the imperfection of the printing's done. I just think it really gives it that natural woody look without having to try too hard, really. Again, I'm just making sure these layers, especially past the base layer, are just, I'm not saying thin, but they're not in bulk, like what's happened in the middle there. And the only thing for somebody that's maybe not used to painting and quite new to it, I know quite a few of you are, is my brush is starting to lose shape. So I always just get it back in the water, use my paper and just give it that reshape. That's the only problem I found. If you do ignore that, especially if it's overnight kind of thing and it's dried, you will lose that natural shape of that brush. I find it, especially with the brushes that have finer points, it's so important to keep those points, because once you lose them, it's so much harder to get those points of that brush back, and then you're buying new brushes. So we are getting there with this white paint going. I just did not want to waste it. These, at the moment, I'm using a combination, both acrylic paints, but these are smaller ones at Amsterdam, and then I use the Deco Art acrylic paints as well. So these are two brands that I've always worked with, and two brands I like. You know, I've usually done it on wood and things. I did rob a Garfield one a few years ago using them, and I just find they cover really well. The colours can be quite vivid when you need them to be, and they actually work really well on plastics as well. I have found that. I was really impressed. Hopefully I get this last one done and I will show you that effect with the wood in what I mean. Now that I've managed to get that paint from being wasted. Again, I would say, depending on the effect you want on your woods, would be how thick a white coat you want. As I said, especially wood and natural looking, I do try to get it not exactly the same, because that then helps with building your colour up and giving a natural green and colour of wood. Now I can't get the lid shut. So just backtracking here, I've just got my white base layer. This is still a little bit tacky, so I will have to give it a minute or two. But as you can see, the signal box that I've already done is now completely dry. Unfortunately for that one, I need to make up a green, so tonight I'm not going to do that. I will wait until I'm going to do them all before I do that one. As you can see, now these have dried as well. Apart from the white band that I might keep on some, might on others. It's dried quite well. And as you can see, because I've not been perfect with my colour application, you've just got that little bit of difference themselves on the actual colourings. Again, I suppose I'm not sure how well you can see this, but especially down here just under the white line, it's slightly less. So that to me is a look of just the paint is starting to age. More so on the blue, you can see the variations of the blue colour. That to me is just quite natural looking for just the age of things. So I know paint on metal does tend to start to come away after a while. So I'm just going to go through some of the comments, guys. Marin, I used to put together monogram aircraft kits and use Humbrol enamel paint on them. I think they also do acrylic now as well. Okay, that's something I'll look into. Something with some of the bits we've been donated. I do have a few metal metal people and things, so I am also going to have to look at going into enamel paint just to see. You know, the acrylic won't go on these metal ones. They're just not plastic, the old kind of fashion metal. So with this bit, just to get this slightly wooded effect, while I usually always get my water out, on this occasion I'm not going to do that. So it's not going to be like soaping, dripping wet, but what I tend to do is just one side of a paintbrush I'll dab, and then I'll get my colour. And I'll start painting over my wood, and you can see just the difference from that completely dark brown. You've already got what could be seen as an aging fence. The fence that has been there quite a while. The paint's starting to, you know, just been sun bleached and starting to wear away. I'm trying to avoid the shine for the light for you guys here. As I said, I will try and get you a picture of that shed tomorrow, because on that one, again, it was purely an experiment. I've kind of done different sides with varied amount of paints. Again, it was purely a play piece. So even just showing you here, you can notice the difference between the two. Your more weathered look, and then like your new freshly painted. So definitely in my farm, I think I'm going to have some weathered fences. You can see that just from that dark colour, we've managed to bring it to the light without having to add any other paints, anything else to make it lighter. And Mike, yes, we do have RGJ trains on Facebook as well. It's exactly the same pictures and everything. So for anybody that doesn't know, we are on Facebook. We have tried to post more to the communities page as well here on YouTube. I don't know how newer or older that feature is, so I know it's not quite seen by everybody. So that is something, you know, whether we use for Facebook to do some posts as well, and possibly things like when we get patrons set up, depending on the tier, it's certain things that we might be able to show you as it progresses before anybody else, you know, before the videos and releases. I think we've just got to decide what at this point we can offer. You know, because we're not quite there as some people yet. So, and Jerry, a very good night to you, lovely. Thank you for catching in. I hope you enjoyed your night off of non-kit building. So I do find, guys, with this, because the paint is still quite wet, I can, if I found I've done too much colour, I can go back and remove some of that colour as well. I think I'm going to do one more for you guys, completely darker, to hopefully show you the difference. And then, I'm not sure, Rob, I don't know if you want to do it as a post tomorrow, just to show people comparison a little bit better, because for some reason it's not catching it as good as it looks in real life, especially the wood indents that you've just got from the print itself. So hopefully you guys can see a little bit just how you've got that varied of textured, and your piece is starting to look aged there as well. So what I do like, you know, it's quite nice to be able to still have those effects. But I think for tonight, I am going to look at heading off, guys. Me and Rob we've got to transfer down to South Wales, I think it is tomorrow. So we're not going to be around, really. We certainly can't get in the shed tomorrow. I think, Jason, if you're still watching as well, unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to catch you live either. Trying to see if cameras have a go at removing one from a support structure. Well, that's the thing, that's what I like. I don't really want to do it yet because it's not dried. But they are quite easy. They literally flick off. I think I can show you from... see the double, because I won't be able to paint them. That's the handy thing about them as well. You literally just pull them off and they come straight off. So, and if you are struggling, for me, even a fingernail can work at getting it off these thinner structures. But you can use your knife, your craft, you know, your little craft knives that we use for Metcalf kits and things, and they work really well at getting these ones off as well. Oh, Flymo, thank you. You've managed to get our profile up, so. Oh, yeah, you did, Rob, didn't you? Yeah, that's the thing. Teeth drains and cameras, it is. While you understand why people do charge those prices, at the end of the day, they're a business. But for those model railers who can obviously afford a 3D printer or have access to one, it does certainly make it that little bit cheaper, doesn't it? You know, I understand as a business why they charge that. At the end of the day, when you put their electric and all their costs, I suppose, certain things, it does add up for them. But obviously they're a business at the end of the day, you know, they're not going to give them away for cost price, are they? But it is crazy, these little things, when you see them, how much they've cost to print and that, and how much they can charge for them. But it is handy for people that don't have access to 3D printers, so injection moulding used to cost a fortune to tool. Yeah, this is a thing. Andy, very good evening to you, lovely. Unfortunately, I'm not far off ending the stream. We've got a transfer tomorrow, so I'm not on as late tonight, but I can give you a little catch up if you want before I go. We've just, as you can see, I've got a load of 3D printed items here. We've got our barrels, some fences, electric boxes, and we also have some buildings. This was just something I wanted to show. You know, this is something I did for Rob. literally just showing you can use acrylic paint on 3D printed items. I would love to get a spray gun at some point, but at the moment that's definitely not happening. Hey sis, glad you're catching in. So yeah, it's just been a way to chat with people tonight because I'm not able to continue with the building at the moment. We're waiting for Mr. Postman. So we just did it as a way just to catch up with everyone. We know you guys like watching these lives. I thought, as I'm doing it anyway. But the one thing I have tried here is with the wooden fences. Now, would you believe this like colour here was actually used by acrylic paint this dark, and I've not used any other paints to get to the colour. It's just purely water on the brush and just very lightly adding it up. And the 3D printed, you can't see it that well, unfortunately. Focus has not been my friend tonight. It's slight texture in that has given you the natural wood. So see, other people are taking off as well. It is, as I said, it is, what is it? Is it a Sunday? I don't even know what day we're on today. But it is a weekday and people are working. So I think for tonight, as Rob said, he will get some photos on the community page. But I think I am going to head off for tonight. And I thank you all for joining in again. We will get some photos of these to show you as well tomorrow. And we will catch you all later. Thank you for checking in the live again. Catch you soon.